Flight 8646, operated by Jazz, collided with a Port Authority aircraft rescue and firefighting vehicle on runway 4. The plane carried 72 passengers and 4 crew. The ARFF vehicle carried 2 officers. In accordance with our emergency plan, our mutual aid partners, FDNY and NYPD, immediately responded. Initial numbers indicate that 41 passengers and crew were transported to the hospital, as well as the ARF officers. At this time, we understand that 32 have been released, but there are also serious injuries. Sadly, the 2 pilots are confirmed deceased, and notifications are being made by Air Canada's care team at this time. Families were directed to the Air Canada ticket counter to be reunited with their families, and we understand that the 1 unaccompanied minor has been reunited with their families. It is anticipated that the airport will be closed at least until 2 p.m. this afternoon to facilitate the investigation by NTSB, which has already begun to be on site. At this time, I'll take any questions.
Hello, Shimon Progress from CNN. Can you just tell us the rescue vehicle that was on its way somewhere? Can you give us any details about what put them in that position?
Certainly, the vehicle was responding to another aircraft operated by United that had reported an issue with odor.
I believe there may have been some traffic suggesting that the truck was told to stop. Why did
The NTSB will investigate exactly what went on in this crash, and I will defer to them in all of those aspects.
So, in terms of when the plane landed, like how soon after did the crash occur from when it landed to when there was that collision?
The collision occurred during landing.
Do we know what speed the plane was moving when it collided with that vehicle?
NTSB will determine what the speed of the aircraft at the time.
Any indication of air traffic control shortages, and if that played a role?
Again, I will refer to NTSB, who will make that determination on who was in the control tower at the time.
Was anyone ejected from the aircraft?
We're going to leave that to be part of the investigation at this time as we're going through family notifications.
Now, can you update the condition again of the 2 on the truck?
Absolutely. The 2 officers, the sergeant and the police officer, are in stable condition with no life-threatening injury. I have visited both of them in the hospital, as has the chairman, and they were able to speak, and we're notifying their families.
Here, I'm Giovanni with Excellent News. You mentioned something already, and I'm sorry if you already answered this question, but we understand that the truck was going to respond to another incident. Can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
A pilot who had multiple attempts at takeoff requested support. They are responding to that request.
What's the normal, like how does this work? What's the procedure when one of your rescue vehicles is about to enter, let's say, the tarmac or runway? Can you just talk a little bit about what the procedure is?
Certainly. The procedure always is in deference to the control tower anytime anyone is moving on any of our runways or taxiways.
So they have to get clearance from the tower?
They have to get clearance from the tower to move on our runways and our taxiways.
Can you get clearance on what the timeline is right now, what's happening now, and what can we expect to happen in the next few hours?
So most of the passengers have now left the terminal. They were either transported to Elmhurst or Presbyterian Hospital in Queens. Those who did not get transported were taken to the lounge. Their families came and they were reunited. I believe there are very few still here. NTSB arrived, the first portion of NTSB arrived approximately 3:30 this morning. More investigators we anticipate to be on site around 6 this morning, and then we will follow their lead on what their investigation requires, and they will have the time they need to make that determination.
When you say 2 p.m., is that the earliest it could reopen?
That is the earliest it could reopen.
But it could be later.
It could be later if they decide that they need additional time as part of their investigation.
Was the drive seat occupied or not? Was it just-
We do not know at this time.
You don't know, so there could be. is
Oh,
anyone
no,
missing?
we know that all people who were on the plane have been accounted for.
Can you talk a little bit about the 9 people who are still in the hospital, what are their injuries?
I can't speak to their injuries at this time, but we know that some of them are serious.
Is there any count of canceled and reverted flights?
I apologize, I can't hear.
Sorry, is that, do you know the number of canceled and reverted flights?
I do not have a number, but we can probably get that for you.
The airport was operating normally before this happened. Were there any weather conditions? Was there anything else that was reported by?
Our understanding is was operating normally at the time.
The recap has it now the pilots are the only 2 fatalities.
At this time, the 2 fatalities are the pilots. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Do you have any information on the pilots, age or age, either male, female?
We don't have demographic information, but we do understand that they operated out of Canada as their locale.
Could you summarize the fatalities and the injured, just so we have a concise?
And let me just also preface this with, this is still preliminary information and could change, but our understanding is that approximately 41 people were transported and 32 were released, and that we have 2 deceased who were transported by the medical examiner's office.
And they were the pilots.
And they were the pilots.
The airport, when is it reopening? I know there was a time that was.
So it will reopen, the earliest it will reopen will be 2 p.m., but that is subject to change depending on what NTSB needs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.